I'm going to keep this video short, which is really hard for me because I'm not someone that talks for short snippets. It's not in me. Once I get a topic, I like to just talk and enjoy myself. This one, I don't want to sort of push too far for my daughter's sake. There's people she has to deal with who, in my opinion, have like a god complex. They have to feel powerful. And when they don't, they have they're a bit petulant like a child. They have outbursts. They have outbursts because they're immature. And it's these immature people who try to they perceive themselves as being the most mature and intelligent people that exist. This old grandeur of a child. That's what she has to put up with. It's laughable. It really is. So anyone that plays video games knows that a lot of the age rating on video games are just absolutely ridiculous. I don't know why they do it. For instance, Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed is just like a third-player game where you transform into a historical period. You have a sword and a shield for the most part. I don't think there's blood, and if there is, it's very minor. It's nothing like gross or grotesque. It's no worse than all the other games, but effectively. And that's all you're doing. You're just coming up against people. There's a story to it. There's a narrative. It's a very long game, but you get to explore and obviously travel around. And that's really what you're doing. It's nothing it's not like if there's any blood or violence, it's just, it doesn't feel deep. It doesn't feel like you're immersed in it. It's more just like a bit of fun action, I'm about more than happy. And as her father, I approve it. But some people, they try to just go too far, Oh no, like my daughter's 14. Let's be honest. And I think this is the part where some people are just nuts, in all honesty. This video might go on longer than I planned. We're at 2 minutes, shit. But let's be honest, growing up, most of us, I'm not going to say everyone, because some people might be a bit anal retentive. I don't want to sort of go too deep in that. But yeah, some people are. Let's say there's a 12. Let's say you're 12 years old. There's a good chance at 12 years old you was watching a 15. Because the age ratings are just bullshit. Let's be honest. I think they're ridiculous. They're too sensitive. At 15, there was a good chance you was watching an 18. In the US, I don't know the numbers like R ratings and all that. I don't know the exact opposites. But effectively, maybe a 3-year gap between what you're watching and what you shouldn't be watching. It's just life. But what my daughter has to put up with is these people who, let's call them guardians for now, temporary guardians, that's how I see it. They monitor and control the content, so she can't, even 1 year over, you can't go near it. Now, my ex, for instance, she used to let her eldest daughter watch content that she shouldn't have been watching. There's like horrors, there's all sorts going on when we're living together, and sometimes I didn't even agree because the age rating was ridiculous. Like she's maybe 9-10 years old, watching these really, really, really stuff that she shouldn't be watching, and I'm thinking there's a limit here. So imagine my sort of surprise that when she takes my daughter away, she meets this new partner, and even at maybe 12 years old, she can't watch Zombieland. And I'm like, where is this going? Like, what madness are we living? I bought her comic books, Harley Quinn comic books. Okay, there's a little bit of gore in it. Again, she's mature enough to handle it. Let's not wrap them up in cotton wool. She liked it, but she had them all taken away. And that's where the clash between parenting comes in. It's almost like they've gone out their way to be so anal retentive to be the opposite of me. I don't agree with my daughter watching something that's going to traumatize her, for instance, or like absorb content that's going to traumatize her. But I believe she's at an age now where she'll be able to discern sort of what's comfortable and what's not. We don't just watch something blindly like an idiot. If it gets scary and it's like something that bothers us to our core, we're not going to sit there and just watch it just to spite someone, are we? Oh my God, I'm terrified by content. You're going to stop. At 14 years old, nearly, I think she can make that decision for herself. So anyway, a video game, something as simple as a video game she can't even play. And yet, this is an Xbox account, for instance, that I'm in control of. This is an account I made. I have access. I'm the only one that has access to her privacy settings and the parental settings. So I can approve the game. So anything, I think 18 or over will flag to me. So she'll send me a message and say, I'm trying to play this game. It won't let me play it. And I'll go, I'll take care of it. Because I play games myself, so I know the limits of games. In all honesty, I think it's very rare there's a game that's terrifying. Some are. So there's somewhere I'd probably go, in terms of the horror ones. But that's not what she's looking to play here. I know it's a lot about video games, but that's what I'm talking about here. It's just it's just so stupid. I'm sure if Fortnite was a freaking 15, she wouldn't be able to touch it. If it was, I laugh because it's pathetic, isn't it? Because people just want to they do this on purpose just to have some authority in their life, but they don't realize that it's a horrible thing to say, but they're temporary in their life. They're not going to be around forever. And that's the way I see it. It's just not, when you live it, you see it, you know it. Step parents don't always work out. I was a step parent to my ex's child. It didn't work in the end. The relationship ends. It's just the way it is, It's hard at first, but you get used to it and eventually we move on. Let's get on with our lives. I don't see that relationship lasting long term. Now, I personally think they're staying together for circumstance, but of course, I've talked about this in the past, but I don't see it working. So, of course, some people just stay together for spite. It's a really weird way of existing, but I'm not going to get involved in it. Point is, if the relationship breaks, they have no longer a role in my daughter's life. It just doesn't work. There's no need to be in her life. I'm her dad. So I think really at this point, it's like, just shut up and let me be her dad, because it's just stupid at this point. She's always going to tell me everything. And that's the thing. People want to silence her. That's another thing. We've had our whole life, It's like people just want to keep her quiet. Don't tell him this. Don't tell him that. I don't ask about anything. I don't ask for any of this stuff. She just tells me. She doesn't want me talking about it sometimes because there's repercussions. Again, this was only supposed to be short, but I wanted to get the point across, really. That there's some people just have a God complex, and it's not good for the child. It's like, why not just let them be happy? Rather than have this controlling need, because what that controlling need does, and they don't even realize they're doing it. I mean, they know they're doing it, but they don't realize the repercussions. Eventually, just pisses everyone off. So you think you're being all control, and you're like, I'm all smart. Eventually, you're just going to get kicked out of the house. You're just going to get rid of. No one wants a headache. If you're going to be that annoying, go, leave us alone. That's what'll happen, and they'll only have themselves to blame because they just didn't relax. Didn't let people just be happy and free. You let people be happy and free, what? They ain't going to have much of an issue. Cause friction, what are you going to get? You're going to get conflict. And that's how that works, But while I'm on this topic, because I can't be bothered to do a whole new video on it, there's another thing with some people are a bit Jekyll and Hyde. My daughter has to part with this. For instance, she used to, when she goes home, like returns after to visit with me, she gets quite emotional. She doesn't want to leave me. Now, when she used to go back in the past, she would be told off, why you could stop crying. You shouldn't, you'll see him again, blah, blah, blah. No cuddling, no compassion. And it really upsets my daughter. So she'll say something to me. Me and her mum used to get in arguments over this because I'm like, why did you do that to her? Why can't you just have some compassion? If you was put yourself in her situation, and you would be upset. Stop acting like everything's fine. It's not. They're having to go through this, where they go through this separation. They don't want to leave. Try and find some compassion within that, and think what they're experiencing here. But then the opposite happens as well. So let's say she goes back and she's not upset because she just doesn't want to show it anymore, because she's like, she ain't gonna get a cuddle. No one's gonna understand. She's just gonna get shouted at. So she does her best to try and block it off now. It doesn't work sometimes, but when she can manage it. So then what her mum, apparently, I can only say what my daughter's told me, what she'll then do, rather than shout, because obviously she's not crying now, she'll say, "Is that you can, it's okay to show your emotions. If you want to cry, cry." It's like, what a mind twist this is. If you cry, you're going to get shouted at. If you're not crying, you're going to get pressured to cry. You can't win either way. That's weird. And that's what she's living with a lunatic on that side and another lunatic on this side. But it's like, kids are good at adapting though, She's trying to make it work. Yeah, anyway, like I said, time for us personally, time is ticking. She's nearly 14 now. I've always said between 13 and 14. That is when she can decide. So family court will likely come again soon. It really depends on her circumstance, really, and whether what she wants. Does she want it to come home sooner rather than later? But yeah, I think from her 14th birthday, from that moment on, anything could happen at any moment in terms of court and her return. Because for me, at that point, the time has stopped ticking. At that point, it's kind of on her then whenever she chooses to come home. Let's do this.